next guest says the criminals, thugs, and agitators have returned to the scene of the crime in Ferguson. Joining us tonight is Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke. Sheriff, good to have you back with us. Quite a different time, Attorney General, than she took earlier. Your thoughts?
Bravo for Attorney General Loretta Lynch. A lot better than we heard from Eric Holder, her predecessor. This is a return to the scene of the big lie by this phony movement, this Black Lives Matter movement. This is where this whole false narrative started. Look, there's nothing to commemorate and there's nothing to celebrate in Ferguson, Missouri. This is not Selma, Alabama during the 1960s. This is not Montgomery, Alabama. Mike Brown is not a Rosa Parks. This is not about the civil rights movement. This is an insult to the civil rights movement. And I'm just glad to see right now that the county executive declared a state of emergency early. I hope that they have a good plan. I hope that they have the proper resources so that when any looting starts, any criminal activity, the rioting starts, will be crushed. And I mean crushed, because you have to send a message on behalf of the good law-abiding people of Ferguson, Missouri, the business owners, that you're going to protect life and property and you're going to react quickly. That's what needs to happen here.
And what has happened, Sheriff, is that the police department has been pulled back from the front lines. The St. Louis County Law Enforcement Police Department is moving forward to take up all of that role. Again, it is a de facto statement that the police department is the problem, not the young demonstrators, agitators, and protesters, some of whom surely come from the community and are there in good faith.
Well, whether it's the St. Louis County Police or the Ferguson Police, look, these anti-cop individuals, these cop haters, they see one thing. They see a uniform, they see a badge, and that's all they see. It doesn't matter what agency or municipality it comes from. That's just the way they feel about law enforcement in general. Look, this war on police has been devastating for these major urban centers, not just Ferguson, Baltimore, Chicago, New York, my hometown, Milwaukee, where violent crime and homicides are off the charts.
They're out of control. They're out of control right now.
Right. A beleaguered American law enforcement officer right now is hesitant in terms of self-initiated policing. We've talked about that. And the criminal element has seized the day in many of these cities. And so the good law-abiding people of these communities, the overwhelming amount of law-abiding people, are paying for this with their lives. This movement should have gone to Ferguson to do one thing. They should have gone to apologize to the good people of Ferguson, apologize to the police department, and maybe held a fundraiser for Darren Wilson to help him put his life back together.
You know, it is, I was going to say interesting. It's a heck of a lot more than that. But it is notable the number of politicians who haven't got the guts to say precisely what you've said before this kind of violence and this continuation of tragedy in Ferguson, because nothing in the facts suggests any support for some of the noble words that should be applying to any effort like this to commemorate a one-year anniversary, least of all in the life of Michael Brown. Why is everyone so scared to death, our elected officials, to talk straight, honestly, and forthrightly and to deal with these issues and actually seek resolution?
Because it's more politically expedient to score some cheap political points at the expense of the American law enforcement officer. Look, they know the law enforcement officer doesn't have a voice in this thing. All right, they just put on that uniform, they go to work every day, they kind of keep their head down as it relates to the politics of it. And they don't have the backing of the political class right now. I've heard some of the candidates running for president pander to this movement. I find it sickening. I sat up there and listened to Martin O'Malley first say all lives matter, which is true, and then was shouted down and came back and apologized for saying all lives matter. He meant to say Black Lives Matter. And that's the kind of pandering that you're seeing right now.
We should give credit where sure, we should give credit where it's due. Martin O'Malley, Democrat, running for president, actually apologizing for saying all lives matter in this country. That's where we are. Sheriff, it's always good to talk to you.
State of things.
It is.
My pleasure, Lou.
It's astounding.